Wednesday, first Christmas game, Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a 3-point dog at home. For 2 weeks, we have bet the Steelers as underdogs. Classic Tomlin rah-rah spots and lost. He can cover with Doc Hodges at quarterback, but not without George Pickens. And we do expect George Pickens to be back. Numbers move from 2.5 to 3. It's a public move because the public is on the Chiefs, but the money is on the Steelers. Simon, you don't necessarily disagree with the pros here.
I do and I don't. I think that the Pittsburgh number to me hasn't moved enough. That's my issue with the number. Like I think the value is still in the Chiefs, and yeah, there's still a bunch of books out there, especially I don't know about up in Connecticut, but here in Jersey that have actually gone back to 2.5 because of what you just said. The professionals are hitting the 3 when it gets there on Pittsburgh, and yeah, this to me is a game where I wanted to be on Pittsburgh, but the number didn't move enough for me. If this was 3.5, I would honestly be way more tempted to take Pittsburgh just because of that. And what we talk about all the time, when it's Mahomes and 3 or less, you tend to want to back Mahomes in this exact spot in this number. So the matchup on the field, it all feels like it's good for Kansas City. Like the secondary is just so banged up for Pittsburgh. You know, Joey Porter might miss this.
Yep.
You know, that's a big deal. We talked last week, or I should say yesterday, but the Ravens just, as soon as he went out of that game, they kept attacking whoever came in for him, right? That young corner that, you know,
Yeah.
played all right, but you could clearly see that he was like a fish out of the water. And I know that, you know, the coaches can try to work with him on 5 days before their next game, but it's like not enough time to really get this guy, you know, into this defense to kind of figure out a game plan to kind of hide him or maybe even give him safety help. Whatever they're going to do, I know Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to attack that. So, yeah, this is a Pittsburgh team that we loved. I think they started the year 5-0 as a dog, like we talked about. We had been betting them, and yeah, they've dropped 2 straight here, and this feels like another just bad spot for this team. And we talked coming into the season that this was going to be an insane run for this Pittsburgh team. Like they had 11 days of just pure hell. You know, any team having to face the Eagles, Ravens, and the Chiefs, let alone 11 days, just being put in a horrible spot by the NFL. So Pittsburgh was the type of team that felt like this season coming in, you know, we all had doubts, we all had questions, and it really came down to the quarterback position. And obviously we were wrong on it. Russell Wilson came in and played amazing. But that feels like to me that it's worn out a little bit these last couple of weeks. Like he's been inconsistent. He's been turning the ball over, not something that he was doing when they were on such a great run. So, you know, not that he's turned back into a pumpkin, Russell Wilson, but it's also like he was not what we saw in that Cincinnati game. If you go back and watch that Cincinnati tape, that looked like Russell Wilson from 2013, 2014. Just perfect throws, deep downfield, smart read every time. Now he's playing against a bunch of real defenses, and he's been struggling these last couple of weeks. And I think the same is going to happen here with Spags. Even if Pickens is back playing at 80%, I know that's an upgrade for them. That's really helpful, but I don't think it's going to be the difference maker they need to beat this Chiefs team. So if you can get the 2.5, like again, there's plenty of them out there. I'd grab it now in this Chiefs team. I can just see this being 3 by kickoff.
Yeah, it's such an interesting spot. Mahomes 26-9-1 as a dog or a favorite of 3 or less. So
Mm.
even if you get the 3, you're still leaning into the advantage of betting on Mahomes. The flip side is that Mike Tomlin is just as good as a dog at home in this spot. So then to me, that's either like balancing it out, and then you're really thinking about who's the better team here. And would you rather bet on Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson? Would you rather bet on Patrick Mahomes, who we started to see Hollywood Brown get incorporated into the office? We're seeing in the offense, we're seeing them use Xavier Worthy in different spots in different ways. Some of the pressure being taken off him because of Hollywood Brown. Like, I think this team is getting better offensively. What's interesting, we've seen the past 2 weeks that they covered as favorites of more than 3, which they never do. And they've done it in really interesting ways. And they've been scoring more points, especially that Texans game. I thought they were great. So I kind of feel the same way you do. You know, the Chiefs, if this game has more points than expected, which I think it's going to go over the 43. It's trending now at 43 and a half. I like the Chiefs' ability to execute more than I like the Steelers right now.
Yeah, and we talked about how like again we were just a week early on that Chargers game. We knew that it was going to go the other way for the Chiefs. They had at one point they hadn't covered in 7 or 8 straight games, which was the
Yeah.
longest of Andy Reid's career as a coach. And it was like the bad luck and the little breaks just aren't going their way. Yet they're still winning because they're such a great team with Mahomes. And we joked about it. It's like no team in my lifetime, I can tell you I will ever remember it, that came off 2 straight Super Bowls, has the 1 seed as a 13-1 record or 14-1 now, and so many people just being like, they're not that good though, and
Yeah,
it's
I
just
know, right?
like it's just this insane society we live in right now. So yeah, the disrespect had gone too far, and it's not shocking that, like you just said, the professionals are coming in on this Pittsburgh team because of the history and the number, right? If it's 3, I totally get where they're coming from, right? That feels like that's the mark. They don't want to let it get past the 3, the professionals. But at 2.5, I don't know how you can not take the Chiefs at that number.
Maybe I'm trying to put this into a pretty package to help myself rationalize it. It feels like at 2.5, you're betting on the player, and at 3, you're betting on the magic and mysticism of the Steelers coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about the Steelers on the field that makes you feel like they could win that game, they could cover that game. It's only about Tomlin putting his team in the position to do it. That's a lot to bank on Mike Tomlin when his quarterback isn't as effective as he was early in the year.